Focus on forward-looking type statements. We're going to a different cycle of the economy, and so any type of forward-looking discussions, any type of early warning disclosures, impairment, those things are starting to come back up. It was similar to what we saw 3 or 4 years ago.
Joining me today is Dustin Schultz, real estate industry professional practice leader with Deloitte & Touche. Dustin, you were on a REITworks panel focused on SEC comment letter trends and PCAOB updates. The SEC has obviously been very busy with rulemaking, as we all know, but broadly speaking, what are some of the overall priorities as you see them for the SEC?
Yeah, so the SEC's focus always, there's really 3 objectives for the SEC. One is protecting investors, and one of the other objectives is maintaining efficient markets and making sure that those are orderly and transact in the way that they should. And we've really seen Chair Gansler really focused on those 2 things. Some of the things that we saw early on were, over the last couple of years, obviously there's been a record number of IPO activity, and so focused on the SPAC activity and the record number of IPOs. Now what we're starting to see is more around emerging risks like ESG, cybersecurity, other types of things, cybersecurity, things like that. The other thing that we're also seeing is maybe focus on forward-looking type statements. We're going to a different cycle of the economy, and so any type of forward-looking discussions, any type of early warning disclosures, impairment, those things are starting to come back up. It was similar to what we saw 3 or 4 years ago, pre-pandemic as well.
Can you touch on your most important takeaways of the pay versus performance rulemaking, which was recently finalized?
Yeah, I mean, it's really more of a legal issue probably, but obviously accountants will have a seat at the table, and I'm an auditor by trade. The one thing I'm encouraging folks, the first is it's going to be, like a lot of SEC rules, more disclosure, and so there's going to be a lot more disclosures on NEOs and PEOs, so the named executive officers and other principal executive officers. The one thing I think you could do now that we're encouraging clients and others to do is start having those discussions around what this will be effective for 2023 proxies, and so it's the next proxy season. These will be effective, and so starting to have those discussions of what those disclosures will look like, what those metrics will look like at the compensation committee level, at the board level. Just like everything, the sooner the better on those types of things.
What are some of the recent trends in terms of topics frequently commented on for all? Let's start with for all industries.
Yeah, the 2 that probably are the most common right now, again, we've got a slide that when I just presented earlier today, the 2 that are most popular, these things don't change much through the years, and they haven't changed over the last 8 to 10 years. It's really about MD&A, and it's around non-GAAP measures. So MD&A, the SEC really wants to tell the reader what the business is going to look like. Put yourself in management's seat and focus on what the business is going to look like going forward. So forward-looking disclosures, and then non-GAAP measures. So prominence, making sure you start with a GAAP number before you get to a non-GAAP number, whether or not that's in a table or whether or not that's in some sort of picture or diagram. Make sure you really give prominence to that GAAP measure. And then the other things are just around, again, the common things that we always see are around things like revenue recognition, consolidation, those types of topics.
Now, switching over specifically to real estate, what are some of the hot topics or continuing trends?
Yeah, again, similar to the more broader topics, the ones we're seeing are around MD&A, non-GAAP measures. You know, everyone presents FFO, funds from operations, so making sure that that's the prominence of those is appropriate. Some of the other things around consolidation is probably a bigger one that we see unique to real estate, 314. The one around consolidation is more around a lot of times we find companies will say that they own 70-80% of a joint venture, some other party owns 20 to 30%, but yet they still account for that under the equity method of accounting, and there's rules around how you get to equity method versus consolidation. But really focusing on if you own larger than 50% percentage of an entity, why you do not consolidate. And so what we try to tell our clients, tell others, it's better to have those disclosures already in the document as filed as opposed to the SEC asking. But if you don't include them, a lot of times the SEC will ask for them. So those are really the 314 consolidation, capitalization of cost is another one that we see frequently that's really unique to real estate.